We are Spiritual Sunday here in Boca, live with a wonderful group of people. Let's meditate. Let's draw people, new people from around the world who happen, every week I look on the comments and there's a name I've never seen before. So it's interesting how people find us. Sometimes they're friends who will recommend it. Sometimes they're surfing the internet or whatever it's called and they find it. They'll Google us, things like that, and they find us out of nowhere, right? How does that happen? You and I understand like attracts like. So the more that we appreciate what we learn here and how it changes our life, and we just, when we scan our Zohar, whatever it is, just put that energy out into the cosmos, that we want more people to come and learn this. Because think about it, the more people learn what we're learning, and you'll see today another aspect of it, but the more that learn that it pays me to benefit others. It pays me to be kinder and nicer and more caring, etc. Pays me. The nice part of the system is, if I want all my blessings, so it pays me to be nicer, kinder, like we're about to affirm, like we do every week, right? Then it pays me. So if everybody understood that they would get more benefit by acting in a kind, compassionate way than a mean and nasty way, think how fast the world could change. Like I've learned for these 36 years, you walk in a dark room, the moment you flip the light switch, how long does it take for the light to remove the darkness? Instantaneously. Unfortunately, in a human life, it's our blindness, our lack of vision, that doesn't let us see the same thing. It doesn't let us see that the moment we act in a proactive, sharing way, that the light gets turned on and our darkness is being taken away. Because unfortunately, in this world of the five senses and physicality, we have created or allowed ourselves to accept, and unfortunately many times be tied to, time, space, and motion. Okay, all right, so let's get started. Our affirmation. Another opportunity for us to engrave deeper and deeper and deeper, not only in our consciousness, in our mind, but also in our heart and soul, the truth and the benefit that we can bring to other people. So we say together, consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. So again, I want to start with an experience that I had. I grew up in a Reformed Jewish background. So every Passover, most of you understand what Passover is. It's supposedly the commemoration of the Exodus from Egypt, right? The interesting thing is that, and it's just a side note here, most of the people today will tell you, oh, it's the Exodus of the Jews from Egypt. The irony is, the contradiction is, there were no Jews at the time of the Exodus. There were no Jews. There were the children of Israel. There were no Jews. Jews, the term you never find in the 5 books of Moses. I challenge any of you. Find me in the 5 books of Moses the word Jew. It's not there. Children of Israel, the children of Abraham, things like that. No Jews. The term Jew didn't come about till after the destruction of the Second Temple. Anyway, so I grew up Reformed. So, you just kind of read the story and that's it, like a history lesson. Okay, big deal. The nice part for me was we had matzo ball soup and gefilte fish with horseradish. That was my favorite. That's all I was looking forward to. My grandmother's matzo ball soup and gefilte fish with horseradish. The story, okay, the story, but who cares? Right? What is it going to do for me today? Even as a kid, I didn't understand it. In fact, okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent. Let's stick to the story. So what did I know? Okay, we were slaves in Egypt, whatever that means, which is the point of today, to truly understand that. We were slaves, came the 10 plagues. Moses asked Pharaoh, God says, let my people go, let my people go. Pharaoh said, no, boom, boom, boom. God beat him up 10 times. And then he said with his advisor, okay, go, get out of here, leave us alone, stop beating us up. Great. So of course, what did I learn, and probably most of us perceive, what was the slavery in Egypt? If you think about it, so if you read in the simple story of the Bible, it seems to say that We were like slaves. We were in bondage. They were beating us up to build the cities, right, to do all this slave labor. So I remember the first year I moved to New York to be a teacher in the center, comes the section of the Bible on the freedom from Egypt. And the Rav said something so shocking. And that's what I want to share with you today. And I hope I will shock you like I was shocked out of our illusion that most of us are free. Most of us are not free. So this is what the Rav said. The Rav was talking about, and again, you could read it even just in the literal story of the Bible, which you and I know is a code. We do believe it's true, that these things happen, but there's a bigger lesson for us in this, which is part of understanding slavery. So the Rav is saying, read the story. 40 years, many of you know the story, 40 years after we got out of Egypt, we were wandering in the desert. And every time there was a challenge, here's Moses. Moses is the leader, took us out of Egypt, basically got Pharaoh to let us go. 7 days later, that's all it took, 7 days after 210 years of this slavery, we're being pushed out of Egypt. 7 days later, we're complaining to Moses. Moses, what, are you trying to kill us in the desert? There weren't enough graves in Egypt? 7 days after the splitting of the Red Sea, or 3 days later, again, Moses, you're trying to kill us with thirst? We told you, Moses, leave us alone when we were in Egypt. Leave us alone. We had meat, we had fish, we had onions, watermelon, we had all this great stuff. I don't remember that part as I grew up. And the Rav looked at us and said, for 40 years, every time there was some problem, these group of people complained to Moses and said, no, it was better in Egypt. We want to go back to Egypt than be out here in the desert. So the Rav looked at us, and this was the shocking statement, because it shook me out of my stupor. How many people do you know who escaped Auschwitz, the concentration camp of World War II, that escaped that, survived? How many do you know want to go back to that? None. Why? Because we understand it was horrible torture and torment. So how could these millions of people, every time there was a little difficulty in the desert, even though they saw miracles, the splitting of the Red Sea, manna from heaven, all these things that you and I can't even fathom today, a well of water followed them in the desert everywhere they went. A moving well of water, not a carriage with a big supply of water, literally from the ground. And yet they kept wanting to go back to Egypt. So how bad could the slavery have been in Egypt? So when the Rav said, how many people do you know want to go back to that concentration camp? It woke me up. And then I had to think about, when the Rav explained, what was the bondage? What do the Kabbalists teach us? The real slavery and bondage of Egypt was? It was bondage and slavery to the physical materiality of things. What we might also call excess, luxury. It wasn't torture and torment. And so I had to start thinking for myself, and I made myself a note to share with you. Here's an aspect of slavery that I still find myself caught in every now and then. What do people think of me? You ever had that thought? What do people think of you? If you do this, you say this way, if you don't dress right, if you don't act right, if you don't belong to the right places, what are they going to think about me? That's slavery and bondage. That's not freedom. Then I thought about my fear of heights. I still haven't really figured out, even with some of my visions of past lives, where my fear of heights came, but I came into this life with a fear of heights. Even, okay, I'll embarrass myself quickly. I grew up in LA. Every now and then my parents would take us to the music center in downtown LA to see something that bored me and my sister. Anyway, so during the intermission we would play. And they had, like, if you've ever seen it, the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. So they had this second floor balcony type thing that was open because they had basically a 2-story high chandelier out of the ceiling. So my sister, who didn't have the fear of heights, she would walk out to the edge, the railing of the balcony, look down on people, this, that, another thing. I couldn't. I couldn't walk out to the edge of just a second floor, whatever it is, 10 feet high. I literally had to crawl on my hands and knees to get to the thing, and my sister's just laughing at me. So I remember the first time when we used to go knocking on doors to introduce Kabbalah to the world, 1988, in New York, I was in the Empire State Building. Yeah, this is when I'm first a teacher, so I hadn't really quite overcome my fear of heights, not much at all. So this guy calls me, he's interested in Kabbalah. He takes me into his office, about the 63rd floor, something like that. And we go into his office, and his desk is right by the big windows, right, looking out. And as he opens the door to take me in, I already looking out, I'm starting to feel my heart. Boom, 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 boom. Right? I didn't get near the edge of the window, but we had a nice conversation. So for me, that's bondage. Thank goodness I'm 99% over it. I told you, I was just in Hong Kong, so they put me up in the 31st floor. So I had to prove to myself how much I overcame my fear of heights. I very calmly walked to the window, and I took a picture looking down so I could send it to my kids to show them, they don't even probably remember I have this fear of height, but just to show them, right? There I was. Okay, it was great. Yeah, I was much calmer. I think I maybe went from a heartbeat of 45 to maybe 46. There was one little extra beat at first, and then I was more calm. So think of the things, how you might have that kind of thing. Whatever your fear might be, how it traps you, how it puts you in bondage to certain things. Or my car. And I think here and there I've shared that story. Before I came to the center, when I first bought my first brand new car, wash and wax it every weekend, polish it, take care of it, no eating, drinking inside. If I went to a mall, I'm parking far away in 2 spots so nobody opens their door and dings my car, things like that, right? I was a slave to my car. Okay, here comes a little deeper one. I don't deserve good. Think of ways and means that we feel we don't deserve good. Okay, what I have is okay, but I don't deserve more. And then we'll look around at people who have more and say, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that. That's also bondage. It's also slavery. And then one of the biggest for me that I've worked on my tikkun, fixing it, was my guilt about my mother. And I think I also shared that story. Before I tell you the story, think of your guilt. What do you have guilt over? And think, if you still have guilt, then you're in bondage to that guilt. The unfortunate part about guilt, only good people have guilt. You and I, before the center, before we really came to understand, we didn't have guilt about probably the thing you just thought of. Before Kabbalah, you probably didn't have guilt, or maybe not as much. Why? Because back then, whatever the action was we did, we had justification. The help of the opponent on our head said, yeah, they deserved it. They did this to you. They said that to you. They deserved what you did. Now you come to Kabbalah and you start to say, wait a second. What goes around comes around. How could I have done such a reactive thing? So then we have guilt. And then the opponent says, oh, you must be a good person. You have guilt. So just keep holding on to your guilt. So you tie yourself into the bondage, the chains of guilt. So I had to go back and I had to overcome that. I had to heal myself of the guilt I had about what I had done to my mother that I didn't realize back then. Not only did I not think it was bad, I didn't even have a thought about it. I just did something I thought was logical. I did it. And then it took me to get into Kabbalah to look back to see that I wasn't considering my mom's feelings. Yeah, I can feel it. All of you going, especially you online, I see you. right? We have our own forms of bondage that way. We are enslaved to those things. What about your compulsions? Some people are slaves to smoking cigarettes. Some people are slaves to biting their fingernails. Some people are slaves, like we said, to the social status, economic status. No. Once you're in a certain social circle, what happens if you don't do everything that they do? What happens if you don't attend the right parties, the right events? Bondage. So even though you don't want to go there or do that thing, you feel you have to because you want to maintain your membership in that social group. So are you really free? You understand? No, you don't see the chains. You don't see the ropes tying you down. But in essence, that's what we've done. We've tied ourselves down to those things. So the Zohar, the Kabbalists, like I said, I had to rethink this. I had to rethink, okay, how am I in bondage? Which I hope it's affecting you that you're thinking about that. How are you also in bondage? Because the Zohar explains what's the bondage. The bondage is, I am not in control. I'm letting the outside world control me. I'm in bondage to the physical materiality. It's not complicated. The Creator is infinite light. The Creator filled us with light. It's up to us. It's our choice. It's our choice. Are we going to stay in slavery and bondage, or are we going to be free? We have the power within us. It's our ability to use it. But most people, when we're caught in that bondage, we don't think about it. Here were these, you and me, because probably most of us were those people walking through the desert. We saw all the miracles, 10 plagues, miracles. We saw the splitting of the Red Sea, miracles. So sure, maybe in the moment we said, wow, that's really amazing. But then the next day, when we didn't get immediately what we thought we wanted, oh, let's go back to Egypt, because it was very nice in Egypt. We had food, clothing, and shelter. We had all those amazing things. The trouble is, we don't remember the problems we had in Egypt. That's how the opponent will affect us. Think about the times. It's easy, at least in my experience, it's easy to look back. You know, a person's in a relationship, it goes for whatever length of time, they're enjoying it, blah, blah, blah. And slowly there's this issue and that issue and something else. So you decide to leave the relationship because it's not the right one. But in the span of time between the last relationship and the next one, in that empty space, what does the opponent, that nasty voice that we implanted in our head, do? Shows us a movie. But the movie is very extremely edited. Here's only the good times you had in that relationship. So as you're seeing that movie in your head, oh, this was amazing and that was amazing. Remember when you took that trip and you went there and you had this fun and all of this, and that's all you see. And then what do you say? Oh my God, why did I leave that relationship? Why? Because the parts that pushed you to leave, when there was a fight, when there was a difference of opinion that was argued over, when you just saw that wasn't the person really for you, you didn't match in a spiritual way, those parts you don't see because those are edited out. But those are the things that made you realize, not that it was a horrible person, but you just didn't match. That goes away. Why? So we'll now regret and want to go back to Egypt. That's how this opponent in our head operates. Show us all the good reasons why we should limit ourselves in bondage. Why? Because as the Zohar teaches us, what does it mean to be caught up in the outside world? To be controlled by what they say, what they do, how they act. And then we just become knee-jerk responders to that. They act in a nasty way, we act in a nasty way. They scream and yell, we scream and yell. So what are we doing? We're giving our energy, our light force. The Creator implanted us with 100% light. We're giving it away to the opponent. 40 years in the desert. You know why we had to wander? Like they all say, If you and I even today were to walk from Egypt to, let's just call it the border of Israel, right? Even though it was a different place back then, but that border, we could probably walk it in a week or two. Why did it take 40 years? Because as you and I are on the path now, we're in the process of, when a person gives away a piece of their light by their reactive behavior, jealousy, fear, ego, insecurity, etc., when they give it away, what do? Let's call it, put it in storage under the control of the opponent. But it's in storage. So what did we have to do for 40 years in the desert? We had to go retrieve it. We had to take back our light from where we gave it away. So then when a person gives away their light by an action of jealousy, then they have to go retrieve it. It's in storage in the locker of jealousy. The lock on the door, you probably all know this, these storage places. You bring down the door and then there's a lock. Well, if you unlock it, then you can open it up and you take out your stuff. But if you don't have the right key to the right lock, you can't open the door. You can't get your stuff. So if we put our light in a storage locker of jealousy, then the lock that's blocking our light and blessing is jealousy. Because that's the lock we locked it with. So then what's the key to unlock that lock of jealousy? Gratitude for our own blessings. Because what's jealousy? I'm jealous they got what I think I want. I'm jealous they got my promotion. They got my this and that. They got what I'm supposed to have. So instead of being grateful for our own blessings, or even just happy for their blessings, why shouldn't we be happy for their blessings? Why not? What does it cost you? In fact, I hope you're understanding on a deeper way, you handcuff yourself. You put your light and your blessings in a storage locker, close the door, and lock it with that lock of jealousy. You really think that makes you feel better? No, because you're longing for what's inside that locker. Because it's your soul's light. It's a piece of what the Creator gave you. And it's locked inside that storage. And you can't say, God, please give it to me. Even if you think you could do that, the voice of your soul, which is in essence the voice of the Creator inside of us, will say, you locked it, you got to unlock it. The Creator can't do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. That's what free will is about. We, through our free will, locked it into storage and closed the door with the lock of jealousy, or whatever it may be for you: fear, anger, insecurity, guilt, shame, poverty consciousness, lack. We locked it. We have the key. The irony is we don't realize even the key is in our pocket. We have it. We have all the answers. We have all the keys to unlock all the storage lockers from this lifetime and all of our past lives. We just need Kabbalah to teach us how to do it and to support how to do it, the tools how to do it. But it's in our hands. It's not in the hands of anybody else. So we have to decide. We have to decide. Why? Because we live in our own world. It was very nice. If you're on Kabbalah.com, go back to yesterday and watch Michael Berg's talk, his consciousness talk from yesterday. He was reading from the Zohar, and as we've often said here in different ways, but he just said it very simple. He read from the Zohar, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, probably one of the highest souls ever in this world, and he said very simple. It's up to us. In the Zohar it says it's up to us, in essence, to create the Creator, to create God. And of course, that's also a shocking thing. God exists, right? Even we say, the Creator, the light is infinite, so you can't get rid of the light. So what does it mean? This is what you and I are learning today. When a person is in slavery and bondage, when they locked away some of their light in those storage lockers, let's just make it simple. So a person's been given, as we all talked about, 100% light inside of us. So every time a person is reactive, acting in as an effect of the outer world, they said, so I had to say. They did, so I have to do. Knee-jerk response. and we put half of our light in those storage lockers, then in essence we only have half of a creator in our life. The other half of our creator, so to speak, our soul's light, in all those storage lockers. So we're not being blessed by it, because we can only be blessed in a lasting way by the light of the creator. So, as we've talked about here, when you look out in the world and you think you see 8 billion people, how many are there really? We often speak about it. It's only one. I have my own world with 8 billion reflections and extensions of me. So as I look out on you and all the rest of the world, I see 8 billion reflections of me. So what I see in the mirror, how I assess you and everybody else, is in essence a reflection of me, which used Kabbalistically, as we learn here, can be some of the greatest tools to take control over my future, my destiny. Just like when you look in a mirror before you go out to a business meeting, right? You want to look your best. So you look in the mirror to see, do you look good or is there something out of place? So when you see something out of place, we don't beat up the mirror. You may scream at the mirror, but it doesn't do you any good. You fix you, the mirror's reflection changes. As we will fix ourselves, shining more of our pure and perfect light beingness out into the world, then the reflection will change. But as Michael Berg was saying yesterday, I live in my own world, and I decide what my world looks like by my actions. You have your own world, and your world and my world are unique. Yours is yours and mine is mine. Your world is not dependent on your friends, your family, spouse, partners, employers, employees, the government, anybody around you. Your world is only dependent on you. You're creating your world every day. And this is what he was explaining yesterday, what the Zohar is asking us to realize. We decide, not so to speak, really creating God. No, we're deciding how much light of the Creator shines in our world. It's up to us. That's what our free will is. We have the choice. Be in slavery and bondage to things on the outside, and therefore hide some of our light, like we said, in those storage lockers. So we put pieces of our soul in those storage lockers, which means then what? There are parts of our world that are in the dark. Confusion, chaos, disillusionment, discouragement, sense of helpless or hopeless. Why? Because in the dark, what do you think? Oh, there's nothing there. Where did the light go? Where did the Creator go? Where did my help go? Where are the solutions? Well, in the dark, we can't see it. So you and I are learning we are pure and perfect beings of light. And it's our privilege, our ability, and our mission, really, to act in such a way that we reveal that light. So if you think about it, how do we take it away? So those of you who are in certain businesses, have you ever thought somebody took your sale, took your client? Right? So here's how we're in slavery. You think they took your job, they took your client, they took your sale, they took some money from you, whatever it is. What happens? Slavery to the anger. Or even fear. Oh my God, what's going to happen to me now? Won't pay the bill, won't have this, whatever it will be. That's slavery. Why? Because you were not in control of your behavior. It was just a knee-jerk response, influenced by that opponent, the one that wants us to hide away our light in those storage lockers so that we cannot remove that challenger. Or there's like this, somebody criticized you. For some of us, boom, the instant bondage, those shackles, insecurity. Oh my God, I'm no good, I'm not this, I'm something else, whatever. I hope you're relating. Or, like we said before, you think about now all of a sudden, oh my God, how did I do that? That was so foolish, that was so stupid. How could I behave that way? Again, giving in to the outside. So now comes, as we just talked about a few minutes ago, guilt. Guilt. So now we're in bondage to guilt. But like we said, in the case of guilt, at least there's the part that we seem to have a little bit of relief in the guilt because only good people have guilt. So at least I'm a good person. Yeah, in jail, in bondage to the guilt, but at least I know I'm a good person. Like you see so many times in the movies, the person's thrown in jail and people say, what are you? I'm innocent, I don't belong here. Yeah, you and I don't belong in jail. We don't belong in this bondage. That's not what the Creator created us. Gave us all the power and ability to have endless bliss. It's we who decide, hide our light or reveal our light. Give in to the outside world, be the effect and under the control of what they say, what they did, what's going on in the outside world. Or be in control from the inside world. That's our ability. Don't take what they say and act unconsciously, knee-jerk response. No. Start to say, I don't want to behave from the outside. I came here filled with this infinite power of the Creator. All I have to do is let some of it out. Use some power. Let's look at it in a positive way. But you know the Marvel comic or whatever, one of the comic heroes, the Hulk. So what happened? Here was this little wimpy professor, and when he'd get angry because he had been irradiated with whatever, the magic gamma whatever rays. So when he got angry, he would turn into this big Hulk, right? Huge power. So it's time when you're angry that you've given so much away. Get angry at your opponent so you fight the right opponent, the opponent in your head that's causing you, influencing you to give away your light, to put it in storage, to not have the blessings, to seek instant gratification. That's it. Sad part. We in this world have addicted ourselves to instant gratification, short-term fulfillment. All you have to do is the last time you went on retail therapy. Right? You didn't get your way, stress at work, something not working out. What the heck? I'll go shopping. Buy something I want. You buy it? Good. The next day you look, what am I, an idiot? Why did I buy that? Can I return it? I got to return it. If they don't let me return it, I'm going to go force them to return. Instant gratification, but short term. You're on that diet, right? But you have a good excuse to have that dessert. Oh, it's only one dessert. It's only the one cookie. It's only the one potato chip. Sure, instant gratification, short-term fulfillment, because the moment you're finished eating it, the moment you didn't even digest it. It just finished getting to your stomach, and all of a sudden, oh my God, why did I do that? I've been working so hard for these 6 months to give it away so instantly. Why? Oh, because I was feeling a little bit of lack, and I needed something to immediately fill the lack. It's our choice. Short-term instant gratification, or long-term lasting fulfillment, even though it means in the moment uncomfortable proactive sharing. That's it. How do you unlock the lock? When you feel jealous and you unlock it with acting with gratitude and happiness for the other person. Not easy and not comfortable, but it's the only thing that transforms us in a lasting way, because it breaks that door of the storage and it lets our soul's light out. The light of happiness and joy, the light of abundance, prosperity, protection, the light of love, kindness. So we have to start asking ourselves, what is it that you want? What is it you want? Because as of this moment, we've all just been freed from our Egypt. Because I can hear it, you all have thought of at least one thing, how you're in slavery. So the very fact you've identified a piece of your slavery means you are now in the ability to be free from your Egypt. Because the first step is realizing you're a slave. If you don't realize you're a slave, you just keep doing the same thing over and over again. till you suddenly wake up and realize, no, I don't have to be a slave to that anymore. So you now have been freed. Like we were freed 3,400 years ago, we were pushed out of Egypt. But now we had to make it lasting. 40 years in the desert, picking up the sparks. Stop complaining. The moment you hear yourself complain, even to yourself about yourself, what are you saying? That you don't believe the Creator is infinite. You don't believe you have a soul full of light. You cannot see the light of the Creator is available in that moment. You do not believe or see that there's a solution. Not only just a temporary solution, a lasting solution to whatever your confusion, chaos, or difficulty is. That's what you're saying. Don't go back to Egypt. Yes, push yourself forward, because what's waiting for you? The promised land. The Creator has, metaphorically, if you're new, you understand we don't believe the Creator is a being and all of this, right? It's just the emanator of light. In fact, Kabbalistically, we can't even really describe the Creator itself. All we can act upon or have any real sense of is the light that emanates from the Creator. And even that is hard because it's infinite. And it's hard for us to imagine infinite while we're in the physical world. But at least we can think of the light. So start running after the light. Start acting. Like we said, so you've been judging, so, oh, here's the best. You're complaining what they did to you, how they behaved, how they acted, it was so terrible. Meanwhile, for 20 years, you're complaining about a person who may not even be in the world anymore. So who's put themselves in the prison of a pity party of victimization and blame? The person themselves. So you hear yourself blaming them or finding yourself complaining, realize you put yourself back in Egypt, or at least realize that's part of your slavery. So what do you do then? Pause. Send them light. Send them light. Take the light from your soul, extend it out. Unlock that storage locker of the light by just forgiving them. Send them the light of forgiveness. I forgive you for that thing you did. Because it comes out of you, it emanates from you, it takes away some of your darkness. The next higher level that I share with the students that I mentor, then also apologize for those 20 years of blaming them. Because that's also misplaced. And I'm not saying they didn't do or say what they did, but whose free will was it to act with the blame and the pity party and all the rest of it? Yours. So then you also have to apologize for throwing blame energy at them. Forgive them for their action. Light emanates from you. More doors open up. Your light is freed. Apologize for sending them that negative energy that you've been throwing at them. Other doors open up and more of your soul's light coming back to you, being awakened to bring you blessing. Do you want it all or you only want part of it? I know all of us right now probably say, oh, I wish I had more. But when you get the more, then what? Then you want more. And then when you get that, you want more. Not in a negative way, but because the Creator filled us with 100%. So unlock those doors. You are now free. Start retrieving the sparks of light. Don't wait. Don't wait. Act from the light inside you. Decide. You don't want to spend 40 years picking up those sparks. You want to go boom in those 11, 12, 14 days to get to the promised land. But you got to do those actions. Like we say. Greater, notice the word, greater love, kindness, and compassion. Because we have more potential, we have greater potential. And in that potential is where the light of our blessings exist. Protection, peace, love, health, prosperity, all the good things we want. Peace of mind. Person can have all the trappings on the outside and still no peace of mind. So is it worth it? I know that opponent already going, yeah, give it a try, why not? Right? And it's funny over all the years, and I've shared with you the stories, over the years, they've been very affluent, whatever you want to say, powerful people come to the center. And so way back when they first started coming and the news media would come to ask us, why are they here? They've got fame and fortune and all this and that and other thing. And my response always was, yeah, but they're a human being. Most people think money buys happiness. If you had this, that, or the other thing, you'd be happy, which is also the slavery. So you and I who may not have that, you think, oh, if I had a little more money or if I had this or that, I'd be so happy. Well, these people, they already have it all. So if they're not happy, if they don't have peace of mind and a true inner sense of fulfillment, so where are they going to go? Another movie, another song, another play, another something? No, they got to go within. So as we're speaking about, the Kabbalists explain, when we act proactively, we act with greater love, kindness, compassion, generosity, humility, tolerance, etc. If you think about it, the Creator, again, metaphorically, eternally blissed out. Like attracts like. The Kabbalists call it similarity of form. So then every time we act uncomfortably, we share against the jealousy with gratitude. We share against the ego with humility. We share against animosity with kindness, compassion, and forgiveness. We, in essence, are glued to the Creator. So in essence, everything the Creator has and everywhere the Creator goes, we're also experiencing that bliss. More and more of it. It's called devakut, like gluing, literally gluing. You're attaching yourself. So imagine, if you and I metaphorically were glued to the Creator, the light force 100% of the time, what would be experiencing all the time? Eternal bliss. And you and I even understand we still have to fix our mistakes of the past. But while we're doing it, we still have eternal bliss. It'd be joyous to go remove our light from those storage lockers. It would make us happy. We'd feel joy in the process of forgiving the person, apologizing to them, giving the charity we didn't want to give, being humble when we don't feel like it, all of that. So even though we'd be handling the mess and putting it back in order, we'd be joyous along the way. What could be better? Joyous when good things are happening and joyous when the challenges are showing up, the mess we have to put back in order. Unconditional happiness and joy. Would you like it? It's in your hands. Your world is yours. My world is mine. It's up to nobody but us. So, the Bible says, as we close up today, the Bible says we're created in the image and likeness of God. What does that mean? That means we have the power to unlock every storage locker we've ever hidden our light in. And we have the ability to find them all. Because being created in the image and likeness of the Creator means we have the ability, like a flashlight. Not all of our light is revealed, meaning we have to turn on more switches, let's call it. But we have the flashlight and we're in control of our destiny and our future. Turn on more of that light. Act more. Love, kindness, compassion, generosity, tolerance, humility, gratitude. Turn on more light. More of the Creator shines, the darkness goes away. It's waiting on us. I hope by now you understand it's not up to the Creator. We've been given the ability. The Creator's already given us everything, just waiting for us. Waiting for us. Every person, every righteous person you think of, whatever that is in your religion or you've seen people, whatever you consider a truly righteous person, is just an example how to do it. So you see them loving their enemies, forgiving the people, like this and this. You see it in an example. Don't let your opponent tell you, well, they could do it because they are righteous and I can't. They're showing us what power and potential we have. They're not telling us they're the exception to the rule. They're showing us that the same system they used is the same system we're learning here in the center. Because there's only one ultimate system of the soul, which is why we call the Zohar and the Kabbalah as we teach it here, technology of the soul. It's not technology of Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism. It's not the technology of chemistry, physics, quantum physics. No, the technology of the soul. And every one of us have the divine right to make use of it. So it's up to us to decide slave or free. Don't look at them and say, well, they're enslaving me. We do or we don't. So we're going to begin today to make a more conscious effort to find ways to glue ourselves to the light of the Creator, to the pure and perfect being that the Creator created us to be, our perfect version of us. the one that you are meant to be, supposed to be, ultimately are going to be. What the center's teaching us is how to do it faster and with more mercy. So look for the opportunities. Look, hunt down the opportunities to act with greater love, kindness, and compassion. All the light-like behaviors. Because then your world is going to look like the Garden of Eden. And as yours does, and you're emanating that, you influence all the rest of us to also not only want that, but to follow your lead and act with greater love, kindness, and compassion. Act more Creator-like. Glue ourselves to the Creator. And when there's enough of us that are glued to the Creator like that, there's enough light in the world, the darkness will disappear, and we will wake up out of this dream of slavery, bondage, chaos, and discord. And we will find ourselves in the true world of the Garden of Eden, heaven on earth of peace, love, and unity. God bless. So, a couple things before we do our offering. One, I just want to share with you, again, we can't do it without you, so I want to thank you for all the support that you give us. I do ask you, up it a little bit, up it. Push yourself a little bit more, because the faster we can spread, the faster we spread these. Any version of the Zohar is the infinite light of the Creator. As we said today, we're the ones who decide how much of it is shining. The same way, we decide how much we see. Right? You put on slightly shaded glasses, suddenly you don't see. You put on, those of you who wear glasses, why do you clean your glasses? So you see better. Why? Because you smudged them a little bit somehow, and you can't see clearly. Does it mean your eyes aren't functioning? No, the glasses are dirty. So the dirtier our glasses, or the darker glasses we put on, the less we see. So you spread enough light even in the darkest glasses. If you were standing with the darkest glasses you could wear, standing, not that we should do it, but just think of the idea, standing literally 6 inches away from those big stadium spotlights at all those sporting stadiums, the light would shine through. So when there's enough of these books of the Zohar spread around the world, the light will be so bright that people will see through their darkness, through their anger, through their jealousy, the great blessing to act with greater love, kindness, and compassion. So we need your help and support to speed up the process, because we want it to happen now. Even if you say, yes, because I hear, we just talked about, I'm in my own world, you're in yours. So I cannot think, even from that point of view, if I think, well, I don't want, let's not say us. Think of somebody out there who's hearing this maybe for the first time thinking, you know what? Yes, they want light for everybody but those people. They're still a little bit in that slavery. That person did such a terrible thing. How could they ever be forgiven? It's not about them. You want your world to be filled with light? You got to put light out into the world. Then your world and even that person will reflect back to you light instead of darkness. You hold animosity to a negative person, you're attached to their negativity. Like attracts like, no exception to that rule. So the faster we can spread the Zohar, the faster things will change. I'll tell you quickly, okay, because then I do want to do our meditation. In this trip to Hong Kong, right, I had a stack of these books, give them out everywhere I could. And one stop I made, because it was a 3-leg trip actually to get there, in Detroit. They have a center for all the service people. A little center, so if somebody, a military person is traveling, whatever, they can go, they can rest, have a drink, whatever it is, like that. So I went in, there were a couple people, I introduced them to Zohar. They took a stack of Zohar, they said, yes, we'd be happy to let the service people have it. I had a few other opportunities like that without all the details. And I share with you honestly, there was one particular part of this trip on the way home that my first emotional reaction was, oh my God, why? And then I had to pause like we're talking. I said, no, there's a reason. Just embrace it. Who knows, past life, this life, I have to pay this back. Pay it back with joy and happiness because it's pennies on the dollar. And along the way, I found 2 people to hand out the pocket Zohars to. Strangers in the middle of the airport. But I just changed part of my world. And if you now think of it in that way, you give a Zohar to somebody, influence a person with a Zohar, you've changed their entire world, which also, within that, so to speak, is also all the other people in the world. So it's our benefit to spread it. So yes, I'm asking you to push yourself a little extra. If those of you who are here with us around the world, just go online. Support the Zohar Project, support the Karenberg Scholarship Fund. Bring more people to this wisdom. They wake up faster. Because the whole world, you see these shows, and today there's no place, I don't care who you are, where you are, there's nobody who can't relate in their life to this idea. You see the little whatever, the little animal running away from the predator that's coming to eat it, and then finally gets trapped somewhere, so the predator just coming. That's how you and I should feel the world is today. That this darkness, this opponent, is like ready to chomp down on all 8 billion people, all 8 billion parts of us. There's nowhere to run. The only thing we can do is send so much light to that, quote, predator, that we just make it disappear. And it will just be there to hug and embrace us. That's the power we have. We discussed it today, how to do that. So let's take a moment for those of you here. You can hold your offering in your hand. Those of you online, you'll do the meditation with us, and then just go online. Okay, let's put it again just in case. I sent you the link that you can share. Appreciation for what you learn here, support for all the projects of the center. So the first thing we want to have is just greater gratitude. Whatever you have, talents, abilities, resources, add greater gratitude, a higher level of appreciation, meaning a greater value in your mind for what you already have. Because as the Kabbalists teach us, as we raise the value of what we already have, we open our vessel, we open our heart, soul, and mind to be able to manifest and reveal more of the talents, abilities, capabilities, and resources that have already been given to us. And we know the most powerful way to reveal it, the fastest, is by bringing light to others. And so through this gift, through this offering, you're supporting the spread of the Zohar, this spiritual technology and wisdom to 8 billion people on the planet. And therefore, what comes back to you, hundreds and thousands and millions of times over, is light, peace, love, blessings, protection, prosperity, all the blessings that the light can bring, that you're meant to have and experience. And may it happen now. Amen. So, here for you here. Okay, here for you here. So we have from the 72 names, Mem Tzadik Resh. For those of you who are newer, the Hebrew or Aramaic letters just shine the light of the Creator. They're simply particles of the light. They're not just letters, they are not just for communication, but they are for ultimately awakening the light in our soul to let that light shine out. So Mem Tzadik Resh, just let the shapes of the letters be engraved in your mind's eye. Freedom. Freedom from the illusion, freedom from bondage, freedom from being the effect of anything and anyone outside of you. So I ask you, sit comfortably in your chair, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. Take a few deep breaths, breathing in the light of the Creator through your nose. Let that light and breath flow from head to toe, and then exhale through your mouth, creating a circulation like a spiritual breeze of the light, flushing out blockages, even bringing to your more conscious awareness how and where you've enslaved yourself, so that you can use this technology to free yourself. Relaxing into the light, allowing yourself to settle into your seat, completely letting go, feeling the embrace of the light, the support of the light, and the true peace of the Creator you've been given, called your soul. Feel your vibration. Feel the energy shifting, the darkness dissipating, the light increasing, revealed more and more. And let's see together the Mem Tzadik Resh above your head, shining brightly, the glorious infinite light of the Creator. And slowly bring those three energy particles of the light through the top of your head. Mem Tzadik Resh. Feel this new awakening, a higher vibration of the true freedom the Creator has given us the ability to have and experience. Let this light, Mem Tzadik Resh, flow from head to toe, awakening more and more of the light, freedom from the illusion, freedom from being controlled by the outside, awakening the true freedom to act as the pure and perfect being of light that you are. As this energy is awakening, increasing inside you, freedom, Mem Tzadik Resh. Take a moment to listen to the voice of your soul, what it has to share with you, where you're not free, and how you can be free. Strengthen your desire to hear this voice, the true voice of your soul. Strengthen your desire to be guided by your soul, to be willing to act with that uncomfortable transformational sharing, to shine light in the face of your darkness, to act like the Creator, the confrontation with your challenger, your opponent. Strengthening your desire for the peace and the serenity that comes with being glued more and more to your pure and perfect beingness, to that pure light of the Creator inside you, so that everywhere you go, every action is now higher and higher, stronger, a more intense revelation of the 100% of the light inside you. And now see a beam of this light, Mem Tzadik Resh, shining out from your heart and soul, out to the heart and soul of the 8 billion extensions of yourself, freeing every part of your pure soul from the bondage to those illusions, to have the strength and the awareness to no longer be at the effect of others, but to be the true cause. Conscious actions of shining light in more and more challenging situations in your life. And if there is something particular comes to your mind, a particular challenge, specifically focus a beam of this light on those people, the situation, and even the you that has been in that situation, so that the voice of your soul is able to guide you and give you the power to remove yourself from that bondage. Allow yourself to enjoy this new freedom, this greater sense of the ability to control your destiny. Record it in your heart, soul, and mind that you will have more power, motivation, and enthusiasm to open the locks on those storage doors, freeing more and more of the light of your soul that you've put in those storage lockers. And seeing the world coming out of its collective slavery to live once again in the Garden of Eden, heaven on earth, peace, love, unity. Let's take one more deep breath to anchor this into our heart and soul, that it's with us forever. And then slowly exhale and open your eyes. I have one more thing that just came to me. Some of you may have participated in the event called Lag BaOmer, but I just want to put out to you, and maybe we can do it as a collective. I know there's many of you who are watching now who are regulars, and whether you've contributed before or not, what we have is an opportunity. These little books, we've basically run out because we have thousands of people around the world who are giving them out. As I shared with you, I did in Hong Kong, I did along the way. So we're looking to reprint them. So what I've been thinking, that maybe we can do a version. It's $18,000, which we could collectively, those of you online or whatever, to publish a few thousand of these. So it'd be great if we could do it collectively as Spiritual Sunday, the community of Spiritual Sunday within the Kabbalah Center. So we could put a little dedication in it that says, from those of us of the Spiritual Sunday community. So those of you who are contributing, if you want to put a little note, this is going towards that goal. And, if you'd like to do one individually or whatever, you're certainly welcome to do that also. But maybe we do that collectively as a group. So please, let me know, put it out there, and let's see. That would be great. Could you imagine? Yeah, I can. You too. God bless. Thank you for being here. Have an amazing week, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.